Hi, everybody. Diana here. Welcome to Sew in Common. Actually, it's Friday the 13th. I realized that today and I thought, oh, well, that's why this day has been absolutely crazy. But I thought, you know what? It's Friday. Let's do an extra video today. Let's put one out there because if you saw the most recent short video, it was on using something really interesting as stabilizer for when we are piecing our blocks in the hoop. And so I thought, why not do a slightly longer, fuller video, not horribly long, but a fuller one, showing you how it actually works. Because I know that some of you and some quilters like to only use natural fabrics. Now, someone's going to say, well, what about the polyester thread? You know what? It's perfectly okay to use cotton thread on your embroidery machine for your quilting and your piecing if you want to. However, our newer fabrics today, the manufacturing process for them really makes it okay to use polyester. But if you don't, go ahead and use cotton. I've done that before. Now, I will give you one tip or one kind of a not a warning, but just a tip. If you're going to use cotton, whether you use it in the bobbin or the top thread, when you are done using it for those blocks, go ahead and take your bobbin case out and clean that area out, because cotton, even really good cotton thread, like the one I use is Orifil. It's a beautiful Italian cotton thread. I bet a lot of you have used that before or use it now in your sewing machine like I do. Well, I use it on my embroidery machine as well. But even that, which is kind of a low lint kind of thread because it's so well made, you still are going to get lint in there more than you will with polyester. Okay. So just be a little careful there. All right. So if you're going to use it, be careful. Maybe every 20 blocks you make or so, just get in there with a little brush or something and clean that area out. You don't want things getting out of control. My bobbin case is like the X zone for me. I don't want anything going on in there. So that's just my tip from me to you on that. So normally, why don't we just actually start out by going under my camera, because I want to show you what we're going to do today, what I'm going to show you today. I'm just getting a piece ready over here. And we will stitch out a quilt block in the hoop of the embroidery machine using muslin. Muslin is one of the oldest fabrics we know of. It comes out of the ancient East, the area around India, even farther east than that. It's 100% natural cotton. To this day, India makes the greatest amount and best quality muslin available in the world. But muslin also comes in thicknesses or grades. So what I've used is I would call kind of a mid-grade. I'm thinking I'm even going to try it with with a little bit lighter grade, because I think the mid-grade might even be more than I need. So I'll get back to you on that one. How muslin is made, it's really simple. It's just one weft and one warp over, and just so it's one on one. It's not like 2 over 2 or any kind of special weaving. It's the most simple weaving idea that you can do for fabric. And it worked out great for my little block. I was surprised. So let's go back. Let me tell you why I even decided to try this. I got a question from some folks. What about all natural fiber stabilizers? I've actually got a tearaway coming that's supposed to be 100% cotton. It's not here yet. When I get it, I'll do a whole video and let you know if it works and what I think about it and that kind of stuff. But I didn't know of one that works like a fabric, like our no-show mesh does. So there is a woman in the industry, and I bet some of you know her. Her name is Deborah Jones. When Deborah speaks about stabilizer, you can take it to the bank. She has been in the industry a long time. She kind of grew up in the industry, and she's run large shops where they make things by the dozen at a time. And so if she says it, I believe it. And Deborah says that an old trick is to use an old pillowcase, like an old thin pillowcase, cut it up and use that as an all natural stabilizer. And I thought, oh, okay. I don't have any like that. A lot of our more modern pillowcases and stuff are either a microfiber or they might be a blend or something like that. And I have one really good cotton pillowcase that I use for something else. So I didn't want to actually store a quilt in it. So I didn't want to cut it up. So I thought, what other fabric is out there that would kind of lend itself to that idea? And so I was looking through, I have a bin of just my white fabrics so that I know where they're all at and I can grab them as I need them. And I was looking through it and I found my muslin and I thought, well, let's give this a try. Okay, let's do it. So let me share my screen and let me flip over to my camera. So here we are. So this, obviously not muslin, right? This is no-show mesh stabilizer. It's my preference. Can you use tearaways? Yes, there's no real reason then you can't. I don't like using tearaway when I'm quilting or piecing in the hoop because remember, we're only dealing with run stitches. We're not dealing with dense embroidery stitches. And I find that when I go to tear that away, it tends to like unravel my stitches sometimes. And I don't like that. And to be honest, I don't like the whole idea of having to take all my tearaway out of my blocks. And for the longevity of my quilt, having this stabilizer in there will actually give your quilt a little bit longer life. As a quilt conservator, I do that a lot. When I get an antique quilt and they want me to stabilize it in places and all, I typically use a no-show mesh. I used to use muslin, so I should have thought, well, gosh, Diana, you could use muslin as a stabilizer in the hoop, but I didn't think of it that way. So now I know, and now I will. So this is the no-show mesh that we typically use. Lots of brands, any brand is fine, right? And that's what I use, and that's what this one is done on, as you can see on the back, and it looks perfectly good. It's got a nice drape to it, like a quilt block would, doesn't add a lot of weight. Okay, so that's good. Here is a little piece of the muslin I used. Now, this muslin, like I said, is kind of a mid-weight, and it worked beautifully, but I will tell you that with this little block here, this little quarter square triangle that I did, I found it might be a little heavier than I like in how my block acts. There's nothing wrong with it. I just think you're going to have a little more heft to it, but you can take care of that by using, say, a bamboo batting when you do your quilting. Bamboo is nice and it's one of the thinnest and lightest weight of our stabilizers. It's also 100% natural. If you don't get a blend, you'd get 100% bamboo, which is, I love it because it actually has an antibacterial property to it. Bamboo does naturally. I didn't know that till I started working with it more. So I loved how this turned out. Now, like I said, I'm going to also try a slightly lighter weight muslin. I'm going to pick some up tomorrow, this weekend, and give that a try. And I'll report back to you, but nothing wrong with using like a mid-weight muslin. That's what I used, and I think it's fine. So why don't we now go to my other camera? There we go. There we go. And let's stitch out half of a quarter square triangle because I've already done the other half. Okay. So I've stitched out the very first step, or what I like to call the map. I'm going to lay my lighter color down first. And I always like to put it, so there's my line, my stitch line. I just put it a tad bit, just a little bit over that line there. Now let's stitch out the first piece. Let's attach it. Now here I am not using pre-cut shapes like I showed you last Sunday in last Sunday's video. I'm not using pre-cut shapes. I'm just using fabric, and I will trim all that away at the end. I could stop pull this out, trim it away, but I really don't need to at this point because I'm just adding one more piece of fabric and it'll be fine. So here is my second scrap of fabric. And I'm going to, this is my line where it's going to attach. So I need to make sure that I lay it out so it fits there. So here we have it. And I always like to lay this fabric right side down. So remember, first fabrics always get laid right side up, right? Pretty side up. And then I'm going to lay this piece down. And I always like to leave a little tiny bit of my other fabric showing out the edge there. It just always, I always know that I'm going to have enough fabric there. That's just, if you line it up perfectly with that, you're going to be fine. But I like to do that. Just make sure when I flip it, I have plenty if I'm using a scrap. So here we go with our next. We're going to attach the second fabric for the quarter square triangle. And look at, guys, it's doing it right on this muslin. Isn't it the coolest thing ever? I love that. Now, I want you all to be honest. If you have tried this before and this is nothing new for you, would you comment? Because I would love to know if I'm the last one to this party because I love it. Now, here I will say that under normal circumstances, we talked the other day about using a seam roller at this point to kind of give that little seam area a bit of a press. Since I'm using muslin, I might go ahead and take my hoop off and use the tiny Clover mini iron that I showed you that I like so much, this little guy. I might go ahead, excuse me, on my normal blocks, and I might go ahead and do that to give that little seam a press. I'm not going to do it right now. It's fine for this, but for my full quilt and all that I'm making, I might do that. It's just that extra little bit, and it'll be, I think you might even like it better. So here we go. We're going to attach now. And I'm stitching that down. There we go. Now I'm going to go around my outside one more time. Hang on, let me just get back to my first. There we go. Now I'm going to stitch this all the way around the outside to make sure that both halves are nicely connected. Now there's nothing unusual about how I'm doing this. I'm doing it the same way that I would do it if I were using no-show mesh or any other stabilizer, but it's working beautifully. I'm just so over the moon that this works. Because to be honest, I do like personally to use natural stabilizer. I love the idea of using natural fibers. So now we're going to take this and we're going to go back to our other camera. Let's flip back over. There we go. Now here we are. Let's put our Clover away, our little Clover. I love that little, this is the Clover 2 mini iron, if anybody's wondering. And it comes with 2 of these. This is the smaller triangle head. Okay, that's the one I like to use. Okay, so here we are. I've got my first half that I did earlier. Here's my second half. Let's look at it on the back in the hoop. Look, no puckers really to speak of any kind. My stitches all look great. My stitches all look great on here. I can now take this and press it at my pressing station without having to worry about doing any like melting of stabilizer and things like that. So I'm getting kind of excited about this, guys. And can I say something else here? When you buy muslin, it's inexpensive. It's much more inexpensive than buying no-show mesh stabilizer. And if you're doing a big quilt, you might try it. Don't run out and buy it yet. Let me try that that smaller weight stabilizer, or the thinner, the next grade down of the muslin. Let me try that and get back to all of you before you run out and buy muslin. unless you're just dying to, then get like, a little bit of the mid-grade and a little bit of the next grade down and try it yourself. That would be fine as well. But all I want to say is muslin is really inexpensive. And when you find it on sale, you're talking about sometimes less than $1 a yard. That's really inexpensive when compared to how much we spend on. We could spend easily $29 to $30 on 10 yards of no-show mesh. 10 yards of this, you're not probably talking about that much money at all. So if that's a concern for you, give it a try. It could be a little financially easier on the wallet, I guess is all I'm saying. So here, I'm going to go in and I'll cut this out all the way around. And then what I'll do is I'll lay these together. And what I always like to do is clip them together right here where the seam meets. And then remember, put your needle on your sewing machine right on that stitched line and then move it 1 stitch inward. So let's do this so you can see it. So lay it right here, and you can see it if I can turn that. There we go. 1 stitch, put your needle here and then 1 stitch in and then stitch all the way down. And then you will flip this out and you will have a beautiful 1/4 square triangle, just like I have here. And it really works beautifully. And I even did an open seam there. I suspect, actually, with the muslin, I could go ahead and do my pressing to one side and not have a problem with it. I'll try that when I try the lighter weight one, or when I stitch this one together, I will try that. But the muslin worked beautifully. I really do like it. Like I said, I'll get back with you on the lighter weight one so we know how that works. Let's go back now to our main camera. There we go. So what do you guys think? I'm like dying to know what you all think, because when Deborah said that idea about the pillowcase, I thought, wow, that makes total sense to me. And then I found out, well, I don't have a pillowcase I can use. So I dug through and found this muslin, and I love it. I love it. So let me know what you think. If you are going to try it, post a picture of the block you make, any block at all, in the hoop of your embroidery machine with the hashtag #SewInCommon so that we can all see it. We'd love to see it because I love to share. I love to share what everybody's making as the community grows. So again, if you are brand new to SewInCommon, or if you've been watching a while and you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to subscribe, please subscribe. It's so much fun to be a part of a community, and we love everyone here who wants to quilt. We want you all to be here, and there's no judgment ever on what you do, no judgment on your questions. Just come and join us and have fun. So click the subscribe button, click the little bell to set your notifications. We'd love to have you. And again, please leave your comments about what you think about using this as a natural fiber stabilizer. So until next time, everybody, remember Sunday, we have a video that will be out on Sunday. It's our week 2 video for the monthly block and sew along videos. And in week 2, that's our inspiration video. I'm going to share with you one of my favorite color matching hacks. I'm going to share with you the inspiration that I got for making this month's block called Game Board. And I'm sure I'll have some other things to share with you as well. It won't be a really long video probably, because it's more inspirational type stuff, and I won't take a lot of your time, but that'll come out on Sunday. And then we'll see you next week. Next week, I promised you a Wednesday bonus video on how to treat no-show mesh stabilizer without doing this whole pre-shrinking stuff. So stay tuned and check in with us on Wednesday. Until next time, everybody, sew life beautiful, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.